So I've been talking about this guy, Ty Konaz. Does he look like that? I would never know that's him from that picture. Like, I'd have to see a different picture. He does not, he's hotter than that. Ty was apparently the principal of the private school that is at New Life Church. So New Life Church is like the most famous church in the United States, probably along with Saddleback. And that's because, Max Lucado's church, which I attended, I knew Max as a very, very small child. I was in the senior Bible study. So Max acted like I was 18 years old, but I was like 5. And, but like Ty, used to come over and we'd smoke cigarettes and stuff. I talked about how I used to smoke Turkish Royals and how they had like at one point they had a buy one, get one free, and then they had a buy two, get one free. And I smoked Turkish Silvers. Those didn't exist in the 90s. Like, I had a bubble shaft on my driver, but it was from Golfsmith. It was like a clone. It was like a fake TaylorMade club. I owned that in the 90s. That club didn't exist. Like, I mean, this club didn't exist prior to 1995. Like, I think I owned it in like 93, this fake club. And I played extra spin golf balls in every tournament. And that company didn't exist at all until 2001. I proved my age is wrong. That guy knew me, and like he'd smoke cigarettes with me, and like if I were to describe him, I'd say he's drunk. I knew Kyle Lake, like, and that's David Crowder. David Crowder's the best musician in the world, probably, like out of any band like in the world. Like there's Lana Del Rey, Halsey, David Crowder, Carrie Job, who's also from Waco. He's from Waco, and Carrie Job's from Waco. In 10th Avenue North, maybe. Like, no one's as good as that guy, though. All right, so, like, Kyle Lake got electrocuted in front of the church. I knew him as a small child. So, like, he knew about the sex trafficking. He was involved. So, when Ty killed himself, he wrote on his body, "Under no circumstances, do not resuscitate." And he sent a picture to my brother. So, like, he wrote it in red. And, like, he texted like one person, "Under no circumstances," which means make sure that I survive, if you actually think about it. But he sent a picture to my older brother, and my older brother's who just robbed my house to hide evidence that I'm a sex trafficking victim, and I can't get a hold of him. He's supposed to pay for me to go to probation, because like I have to go to probation this week. Like I can't get gas right now, so like I'm in trouble. And like, I think that the big problem is like the sex traffickers are that in charge of like media type stuff, like government type stuff. So the pastor of probably the most famous church in the United States, because you've never heard of UBC, a lot of you guys have heard of New Life Church because Ted Haggard got in trouble because he was campaigning against gay marriage and like everywhere. Like he was running around doing politics stuff. And it turned out that he was like sleeping with gay prostitutes and doing crystal meth. So the pastor of the church got caught, like, because his prostitute turned on him. And so, so that guy, like, was sleeping with prostitutes because, like, him and my brother were together. We were going to this gold miners meeting because they were having a holiday party for the gold miners. And I went to the party. And like he wanted to get some bitches, like he wants to fuck some bitches. They had broken up. Like she's like probably in Arkansas right now. And like she doesn't look like that either. She is so freaking hot. Like you have no idea how hot she is. Like the last thing I ever believe is that like she looks like that. No, she is the hottest. And so like I haven't even seen her in person. But like I've seen pictures of her. So like he wanted to get some bitches after the party, and then that's when my brother called a prostitute. He was not very nice to the prostitute. I got so uncomfortable that I left my brother's house because I was like, this is awkward. Like how he's like, you need to suck my friends. Like he was like, stop talking and just go fuck us and like shit like that. And I was like, all right, dude. Like she had a friend there, and then I was like, peace. Like I'm gonna go for a walk, and then the police showed up. Because like I was walking around and they ID'd me and I was like, oh my gosh, like, but it seems like the pastors at that church have been involved with prostitution a lot in my experience. I've only been there like twice, like when I was like a very, very small child. Once might have been a youth group type thing. I went there with Austin. Austin was my best friend. Austin has the most suspicious behavior of all time. Like when I was a child, like he knows I'm a child and like, we're not friends with them. Like we bully the sixth graders. And like I said, like I was in sixth grade when I moved to Colorado, and then I started off in the second semester of seventh grade. I was so tiny, I didn't notice. Cause they decided to jump me an extra grade. And have me jump from sixth grade to from first semester of sixth grade to second semester of seventh grade. But what I've realized is like, after that, like I did all that schooling in 1 year. I did middle school, high school, like, and another high school in 1 year. Like I did the math because like you can see when Kyle Lake died, he died 2005. Like I was there, like I know what was going on. I have no idea how. Like I know I didn't do I know I did summer school. Like I know like I had to. But I'm confused. Yeah, that guy under no circumstance. So like I can't just like conjure up evidence. Like my probation officer asked me like, what evidence do you have that like that you're famous and that people know who you are? And I mentioned that like people knew me in different states, but then you have to trust my word. And then I mentioned that like these girls had been doing like Christmas pictures, and it seemed like they were switching over to like Easter and bunny pictures. And then like after that, like 2 days later, I sent her an email with a picture of a Christmas dress and bunny ears both, just to like try to prove it. Like, well, this I just found this. Like I posted a million Christmas pictures and I just found this. And like I told her, I was like, there were like 7 like pictures that I posted in 2 days of Christmas. That proves that like these girls are trying to get through the censorship. Like I joke that I'm a clone of Santa Claus. And so like, what kind of evidence could you find? Like personally, like I'd want to know who all went to that school, and I'd go interview like everyone that went to the school at the same time as Ty. Like, and like I would like really like ask, like, go find out, go make sure they are who they are. Like go talk to someone that knows them and go find out a story. Like I found out about my brother, like I have about my brother. Like I went to him and I said, you know, the PT 500, right? And he was like what? And I was like you know what a PT 500 is, right? And he goes, no, what's that? Well, Dad invented it. Like our entire life revolved around it. Like when we were children, like I manufactured PT 500s with you in our garage. Like we used to like manufacture the electronics. You don't remember working for Dad and getting paid? Like it was like your only job. Like you didn't have a job. Your job was manufacturing pump-up controllers and gardening the yard. Like we used to mow the lawn and do weed eating and stuff like that. So like, my brother doesn't know how to pull weeds. Like he thinks that like the way to kill weeds is by dumping chemicals on weeds. So like for me, like that makes me wonder if like as a child, when we used to work in the garden, like if it wasn't him also, which we already know it's not him. I don't know if that's good evidence, because he says, you need to deal with weeds, just don't like poison on them. You gotta dump chemicals on them or something. I was like, that's not how you deal with weeds. Like you have to pull the weeds. Like you don't know how to deal with weeds, do you? And like, that's probably another piece of evidence he's never pulled weeds before. I've been talking about how all these pastors from these different churches have been murdered that I know. Like that guy died in front of the entire church. He got electrocuted. He had David Crowder as the worship leader at his church. Like I went there. I knew him, especially at Common Grounds, the coffee shop. And Jill knows me. Like, she was on TV for like renovating her coffee shop or something like that. And my friend owns it now. That guy died in front of the church, and then this guy Ty died in front of the church. And like, I just want to explain like how much proof I have that my age was changed by sex traffickers. So I lived in Monument. I had this Channel 1 skateboard I've talked about a lot, that where there's this monster looking guy is covered up by the truck, and it was a slick deck. I think I got it in Boston, but I initially thought I had it in California. And then I got an ATM deck with Tensor trucks, and I talked about, like, before I went to jail, I talked about how I was at the Monument Skate Park in the 90s, and this guy was talking to me, and it was really cold outside, and he said, like, oh, have you ever seen Tensor trucks? Because he had, like, a plastic piece that helped him no slide. And then after I talked to him about his Tensor trucks, I went to the mall, and I bought an ATM blank deck that was blue that had Tensor trucks. And I might have upgraded the bearings, I'm not sure. And so Like, I got that skateboard afterwards, but the Monument Skate Park did not exist in the 90s at all. I think these were the golf clubs my dad got from Golfsmith. Like, I remember, like, we went to Golfsmith together to get golf clubs that were custom made. Because he said, good golfers get custom made golf clubs. I had Tour Model 4000s with a bubble shaft, and they were little kid clubs. And when I was playing with those clubs, I met someone that had, I met two different people. One person had graphite shaft Wilson Fat Staffs, and another person had metal Wilson Fat Staffs. And those weren't around until pretty late. Like, my little girlfriend and I slept on a twin size bed together, like both of us, and we did sex stuff on a little tiny bed my sophomore year of college. Like, I'm too big. So the South Park people, the writers, are in on sex trafficking, because like, I used to go to Village Inn with these people. I was a goth. I stole from Hot Topic as a tiny child. And like, we would unscrew the light bulb in Village Inn and smoke cigarettes in the Village Inn and Monument as like a little kid. And we were nonconformists. Like, I was like obsessed with being a nonconformist. But then I also hung out at the mall all the time in Colorado Springs. And so like, I know a girl who was a little kid also, and she worked at Hooters. I think they have us work for a very small amount of time. We don't know how. South Park has this episode where there are little girls from South Park that work at a place called Raisins instead of Hooters. And I'm just saying, like, this girl that I was in this honors program at Baylor, like, it's a lot of little kids, and it's a mixed group of people, and it's that hard of a program. Like, it's so time consuming to do. Like, she was in the program with me, and she worked at Hooters. And so like, I like, when I know that I went to Village Inn, I smoked cigarettes, I was a little goth kid. Like, I dressed like a raver. And all my friends were goth. They wore trench coats and stuff. And we'd drink coffee and smoke cigarettes, and then sometimes we'd get a piece of apple pie. But I had no money. And that's when I was smoking Turkish Royals that did not exist in the 90s. So like, I mean, but we smoked different cigarettes, like, but like, clearly, like, the early 2000s is when the Monument Skate Park opened. Like, you can check that. Like, clearly, like, it's easy to check the golf clubs. Like, you know that, like I know that the Wilson Fat Staffs were in California. Like, I lived in California prior to 1997. Like, I remember, like, I was always on the golf course with those clubs. And so, like my entire life was like 36 holes with those clubs. That's why when I look at that club, like, it's identical, because like my clubs were like very used by the time I got my next set of golf clubs in Colorado. And so, yeah, like, I've proved that, like, that guy definitely was in on the sex trafficking. I guarantee it. Like, I know it for a fact.